Morning guys, this is my review of UFC 305 and what is to come next for the fighters and what is my expectations for the future of the UFC. So the first thing I want to get into, what a dominant performance from DDP. Honestly, very, very dominant. I was not sure that Israel was going to actually be able to combat his forward pressure, and I was right. He wasn't able to. I feel like Izzy was outstruck, out wrestled. He did put up a good fight in my opinion. He done like as good as he could have done. I just think there was a lot more that was still like needed from him basically. There was a lot of things that were just kind of like holes in his game, I guess you could say. Obviously, we all thought Izzy had like very, very good takedown defense, and I still think he does. I think his takedown defense is like very good for how good his striking game is. Compared it to like his takedown defense, I do think his takedown defense is very good. It's been proven in the past, but obviously it wasn't good enough at 305. You know, maybe that's because of DDP's like pressure, I guess. He's a very like forward thinking, forward like momentum, moving forward fighter. You can tell that in his game. Obviously, he's concentrated on that a lot. And obviously, you hear things about his training camp a lot. How like they're very focused and very like driven, and they kind of act like a unit. Not to say that like Izzy's camp don't do that, because I think they do quite a lot. You could kind of tell anyway. He's got like a big entourage and thing. But yeah, back to the fighting. So the call outs afterwards. Alex Pereira posted to Instagram. He posted he's moving back down to 185. I'm not sure that's a good fight for him. Me personally, I don't like that for him. Obviously, he's been running through guys at 205. We all know that. He's looking very beastly. He's looking like a future GOAT, if not already a GOAT of the sport. I think it's just not the direction he should be going in. Obviously, we've now got the Khalil Roundtree Jr. fight. I think that's a better fight for Alex. Obviously, it's still a dangerous fight, don't get me wrong. Khalil obviously recently not popped, but obviously got, how shall I say this? Banned, I guess, from fighting by the UFC's like anti-doping agency, because obviously USADA's not a thing anymore. That's another thing as well, how Khalil Roundtree Jr.'s kind of jumped the division a little bit. He should have been facing Jamal Hill. Unfortunately, where does that leave Jamal Hill, you know? So it's not a lot of answered questions there, because he's kind of leapfrogged to go for Pereira. And obviously that's not his fault. Obviously he just fights who's put in front of him, obviously. But yeah, so that's yeah, I'm not sure that's a good move for Pereira. I personally wouldn't if I was in his position, because DDP is looking like a very, very scary fighter in a minute. His striking game's amazing. His ground game's amazing. Obviously, yeah, there is improvements he could be making. And that's not to say that Pereira's takedown defense wouldn't be good enough to kind of counter DDP, because I think it is. He fought obviously people like Blachowicz. He fought people like actually he hasn't had many tests with wrestling, but like Blachowicz was his top test. However, I think Blachowicz for me is stronger than DDP, so I feel like maybe it might be alright for Pereira to fight DDP, but it's just not the move I'd be making. If it was me personally, I'd want to stay at 205. I'd want to kind of cement my legacy there and then maybe think about other things. Obviously, DDP said he'd come up to 205 as well, so there is also that. We just got to see like what happens with like the like future fights that's happening, you know what I mean? Pereira's obviously booked for 307. Yeah, it leaves a lot to kind of think about. Obviously there's always the I think the Aspen one, the Jones questions are like better for Pereira. I don't think he should, like, not to say lower himself to that level, but like obviously go back down to 185. That would kind of stun his career in my opinion, especially if he obviously has an upset. So yeah, we just got to kind of wait and see about that one. What else to talk about? Kai France beat Steve Erceg. Yeah, I think that didn't go. This card didn't really go in my favor at all. A lot of my favored fighters, or the fighters that I like, kind of didn't do as well on this card. It's probably like the worst time to kind of start my analysis, I guess, of fights. Because I didn't choose very good picks in my friend group and things for this. Hooker did win. Obviously, Dan Hooker won. I thought he would beat Gamrot. In general, I think his game is better. His overall game is better, and it was a close one. But I think obviously it went his way. You know what I mean? Kai France cemented himself a lot more. That's very good for him. And also, he's not a bad guy. I don't not rate him. I just thought Steve would actually. I looked at this similarly to a lot of people. I looked at this as like Steve Erceg's first title defense, if that's the scenario. Hasn't gone his way, obviously. He's lost, and there's a little bit more to be desired in his game now. You kind of see weaknesses involving like his wrestling a little bit, things like that. And it shows the amount of time he's obviously been in the top flight as well. Leaves a little bit more to be desired. Tuivasa lost. Come on, Ty. Once upon a time, he was top 3 in the division, potentially getting a shot at Jones. That seems like miles away now, you know what I mean? But very, very dominant performance from Rosenstruik. Obviously, there's the whole 30-27 judge scorecard. That judge was not the best. I've seen a lot of people calling for like judges to now be sat in separate boxes, not in the arena watching it on screens. That would probably give them a lot more kind of better viewpoints of the fights and things like that. And it makes sense to do that instead of like watching it live, because there's a couple of things like watching it live, for example, you'd see different angles you don't see like on the TV, for example. That's something I think the UFC definitely need to look into. Don't think they will, but who knows? Like, you can hope, you know what I mean? Fighter matchups to make next. I would say we've already got like DDP potentially has a shot at Pereira. I don't think they're going to give it to either of them because they're both in their divisions at the minute, kind of doing well in their like separate divisions, 185 and 205 respectively. But yeah, DDP, I think obviously he defends against Sean, in my opinion. Izzy, what's next for Izzy? Now, people are going to think I'm crazy about this, right? A step up to 205 might actually be what he needs. Obviously, his last out in there didn't do very well. But I think people forget, it wasn't like he was outstruck. He's a very good striker, we know that. He's like top 10 of all time, probably, strikers in the UFC ever. we know he was out wrestled in his time that he spent at 205 before, you know. Blachowicz gave him a hard fight on the ground. Pereira managed to deal with it, but Izzy didn't. Izzy fighting strikers, and there's a lot more strikers at 205. We know this. There's a lot less wrestlers. He would do better at 205, I reckon. So a jump up to 205 might be what Izzy should do next, in my opinion. Cara France obviously gets a shot at Pantoja. Ursig, where does it leave him really? I would say, in my opinion, I think they should reinstate someone like Mukaev. Obviously, he's been dropped by the UFC recently, cut. You know, he said he offered to fight for free. If they can somehow spin that and bring him back to the division, that's a very good fight, and that's a fight I'd make. A lot of people disagree with me on that, but I like Mukaev, and I think he's got the skills to beat Ursig. And it would be a very entertaining fight, in my opinion, because to see if like Ursig can deal with a wrestler better than like he has so far in general, like see test his like ground game a bit more and kind of see where he is, because at the minute there's like question marks surrounding it, especially with his Pantoja fight, you know. So we'll see where that goes. Hooker potentially, I don't know. We really will see, but Hooker I see like a journeyman kind of thing now. I feel if he wants another shot at the belt, he's better suited to go for something like BMF. Because being realistic, if he wants a shot at the title, it's not coming anytime soon. He's getting on in his career, you know. We'll see with that one. It leaves Gamrot very far down the rankings as well. It's a bit. Li Jingliang didn't go my way. I wanted him to win. Obviously, he didn't. And we really just, at the moment, this is kind of like a card that probably can kind of be moved on from now, and maybe we forget about this a little bit. Hasn't been the greatest of fights. Only really DDP shone through, maybe Cara France, but nothing really that's too like astounding. Actually, I do quickly want to say, for the heavyweight division, someone like Mick Parkin to go against Rosenstrike, that would be a good one. Or potentially Ty, you know. Aspen wanted a shot at Ty back in the day, and Ty didn't want it. So Mick Parkin being in the Aspinall camp kind of thing, that's a good test at heavyweight, and it provides like a good stylistic matchup for Ty and Parkin. I think that'd be a good enter for Parkin into the top 15 as well, in my opinion. See how he actually does like deal with that, especially after Ty is now on a loss kind of thing. So we'll see what happens there. That's my prediction, that one though, for definite. But yeah, we'll see going forward. But as of today, nervous for Pereira, because I like him a lot more than many people on this cards. And yeah, I don't really want to see his legacy risked a little bit. So yeah, we'll kind of see going forward what happens with the UFC. And yeah, thank you. Like, subscribe and comment. Thanks guys.